Hi there, this is Craig Beck from StopDrinkingExpert.com. Welcome into today's video. I want to talk about the fastest way you can deal with problem drinking and tell you a bit more about Quit Drinking Bootcamp. Because I understand that if you've stumbled across my website or if you found my YouTube channel and you've ever heard me make the statement that the fastest way to quit drinking is to come spend the day with me, just one day, then your gut response to that will be, no way. Can't possibly be true. And I get that because I'm a cynical old Brit myself. We don't tend to just accept these grand statements without a lot of criticism, without a lot of judgment. And the general narrative around quitting drinking is that it is difficult, it is painful, it's going to take a long time, it's going to turn you into a social pariah, and perhaps you'll never ever achieve it. That's the narrative, isn't it? That's what we all kind of collectively agree is what happens when you try and quit drinking. And if you're a problem drinker, you probably have a lot of evidence to support that. The chances are you didn't just rock up at my YouTube channel the first time you attempted to stop drinking. Chances are you've tried it dozens, maybe hundreds of times in the past on your own. So now you have a whole heap of evidence that supports the narrative that quitting drinking is difficult. So when some British guy like me turns up and says you can deal with it in one day, I understand your bullshit alarm goes crazy. It would do for me as well. So if that's your thinking, if you've ever considered coming to a Quit Drinking Bootcamp and you've thought, no way it can work, this video is for you. So before we go any further, before I explain this to you, let me tell you that London is the next bootcamp. It is only 1 week away. If you want to come, now is the time to secure your place. Go to the website, stopdrinkingexpert.com. Then we are Chicago, and after that, Dublin for the first time. And I think we're going to finish off 2019 in New York, although those tickets are not currently on sale, but please keep an eye on the website. So how is it possible to do in one day what you've struggled to do for months, years, decades? And the answer is twofold. Addiction to alcohol. I'm talking about problem drinking, not full-blown addiction. I'm talking about people who are using alcohol in a loop. So if you're turning to alcohol at the end of every day to de-stress after work, to help you get to sleep, to relax after the kids have gone to bed, if that's your routine, if alcohol is now a part of your daily routine, or you're binging on a regular basis to cope with life, then you're a problem drinker. Now, there are two issues when you get into that loop. The first one is the physical addictive nature of the drug. You know, society says that alcohol is just this harmless social pleasantry. It's just a bit of fun, right? But the truth is, it's the second most addictive substance on planet Earth, just behind heroin, and it does a lot more damage than heroin. 3 million deaths a year, according to the World Health Organization, and rising. Doctors are reporting that younger and younger people are turning up at emergency rooms with end-stage liver failure. This used to be something that they saw in 40, 50, 60-year-olds. Now they're seeing people in their late 20s and 30s turning up at hospital with jaundice and liver failure. So this is not a harmless social pleasantry. This is a highly addictive substance. And when you get addicted to it, there is a physical addictive nature to the drug. So that's the first part. Now, unless you have the tools to deal with that, you're going to find quitting drinking to be very difficult, very painful, and an unpleasant process. Firstly, because you don't understand what's going on. You know, the symptoms that most problem drinkers suffer when they quit drinking is a kind of sensation of mild anxiety, this kind of on-edge feeling, this jittery sensation that you normally vocalize by saying, oh, could do with a drink. What you don't do without the correct information is you don't label that sensation correctly. Because really, when you quit drinking and you feel that jittery sensation, you should go, oh, okay, there's the withdrawal symptoms. We don't tend to do that. We tend to, we go a couple of days without a drink and we're just going crazy climbing the walls thinking, oh, I just need a drink. I just could do with a drink. Because we're incorrectly labeling the sensation that we're feeling. We can incorrectly say that we've just had a tough day at work, Or, you know, we got an unexpected bill in the post and we justify it by incorrectly labeling the sensation. So the first part of the day is to explain exactly what you're going to experience, so that when you do feel any sort of negative sensation, you understand what it is and, more importantly, what it isn't. Then I give you 4 tools to deal with it. 4 things. If you do the 4 things, you'll get past it. And it really is as black and white as that. You know, 99% of the people who email me and say, Craig, I drank again last night, I'm so disappointed. When I ask them if they did the 4 things, they say no. And it really is as simple as that. You do these 4 things and you won't drink. I guarantee it. If you don't do them, you will drink. It's a 1 or a 0. This is a binary decision. So part of the Quit Drinking Bootcamp is showing you why you feel like that and then how you respond. That's a really important tool in the box. Responding the right way is going to make the world of difference to you. Now, the physical nature of the drug lasts about 2 weeks. That's it. If you can get 2 weeks clear of drinking, you're completely clear of the physically addictive nature of the drug. And if you're wondering, well, why do I still want to drink after 2 weeks? It's because you're into the realms of psychological addiction. And again, we incorrectly label this. We call it habit. You know, you say to people, why do you drink every night? And they go, oh, it's habit. It's not habit. It's psychological addiction. It's conditioning, like Pavlov and his dogs. You know the Russian pseudoscientist, Ivan Pavlov? He experimented with his dogs. So every time he fed them, he rang a bell and they would salivate and get hungry and expect food. And eventually he removed the food and just rang the bell and got the same response. They'd anchored the food to the bell. And that's what you've done with alcohol. You've anchored alcohol to certain times of the day. Once the kids have gone to bed, when you get home from work and so on, you've anchored alcohol to certain situations, socializing, going out for a meal. And in the same way that the dogs had no choice as to whether they salivated or not, you have no choice on how you respond. So unless you understand this and you quit drinking after a couple of weeks and you walk into a restaurant, you're going to get a huge urge to drink alcohol. Unless you understand why that's happened, the temptation is just to follow the routine, to follow what your body is being urged to do, and that's to drink. And the way I explain it at boot camp is it's like going to see Penn and Teller and they do a magic trick for you. And the first time you see the trick, you're blown away, you're amazed. You go like, wow, magic. But then they come back on stage and they show you how the trick is done. And they say, yeah, we pulled the lever here, that was already in place, and then there was a trapdoor. And from that point onwards, you can never see that trick again and call it magic. You can never be fooled by it again. Even if you live another 100 years, you can never watch that again and be fooled. And that's what happens in the second part of the day at boot camp. I show you how the illusion is performed. And you know, some people at boot camp ask the question, will I stop drinking today, Craig? Will I leave here and go, that's it, I'm never drinking again? Some people do. A lot of people do, but not everyone. And if you know, once you become a member of my program, if you get into the secret Facebook group, you'll find there are people in there who went to boot camp, went home and drank. And then they drank the next day. And then they drank the next day, but slowly something changed. And the reason for that is you can leave boot camp with all this new information in your head. And you can carry on drinking if you want, but you'll never be able to drink with the same excuse, the same justification again. Because as soon as you come up with that justification after you've been to boot camp, your bullshit meter will go off. You'll go, yeah, but it's not true, is it? You can leave boot camp and you'll go, I'm still going to have a drink of alcohol, I'm going to have a glass of wine to relax. And your bullshit meter is going to go, but it doesn't help you relax, does it? It's nonsense. You know this is nonsense. And you can fight against it. You know, you can keep drinking for a few days, a few weeks, but it's always going to nag at you. there's always going to be something digging in your brain going, it's garbage. You're lying to yourself. You're an idiot. And that's why it's so powerful. It's because you can't unlearn what I teach you at boot camp, even if you want to. It's like learning to swim. You know, if you learn to swim and then don't swim for 20 years, if you fall in a lake, you'll get yourself out of it. You can't unlearn that information. And, you know, I jokingly say at boot camp, you know, I say, welcome to boot camp. I'm the guy who's going to spoil alcohol for you for the rest of your life. And it's true. And it's exciting because it means that you don't have to do anything. You don't have to force yourself to be a good boy or a good girl and stay away from the thing that you want most. You don't have to use willpower like all the other approaches to problem drinking. Because what I share with you, the secrets that I give you on the day, are going in your head, and no matter what you do, you can't get them out. Sounds a bit scary when I say it like that, doesn't it? But it's a really exciting thing, because what it means is it's totally automatic. You don't have to leave that day and go, right, well, I'm going to work really hard at what Craig taught me at boot camp. I'm going to try my best to do this every day. It's automatic. It's a change of perception. The only thing you have to commit to is doing the 4 things for about 2 weeks. And if you approach it with that mindset, all I have to do is what Craig says for 2 weeks. That's why it becomes easy. That's why it's quick. That's why it's painless. So I do understand that, you know, if you just look at the headline, if you look at the statement that you can quit drinking in one amazing day, your initial response will be impossible, can't be, too good to be true. I get it. But hopefully you now see that there is a science to this. There is a process. It's not just me talking to you, giving you random thoughts or telling you about when I was a drinker. I take you through a very specific process. It's called the Agawa process, which is an acronym, which I'll tell you about on the day. But basically, it's a route from where you are now to where you want to be. And it's very powerful. And if you want to confirm this for yourself, don't take my word for it. Go to Trustpilot right now and find the independently verified reviews. Find people talking specifically about boot camp if that's what you want. Do a search for that. And you'll find that I think it's something like 96.5% of people rate boot camp as outstanding or better. So I hope that helps. And I really, really hope I get to meet you at a Quit Drinking Boot Camp. Don't forget, London is next, but you have days left to get your ticket for London. Then we're in Chicago, then it's Dublin, and almost certainly it's going to be New York after that. So please come to boot camp, get this sorted. If you can't get to any of those locations, why not sign up for the free online webinar today at the website stopdrinkingexpert.com. And before you leave this video, please comment, like, subscribe. All right, thanks for watching. See you soon.